Frank, over here.
Yep.
Hi there, ESPN. You're going, excuse me, Tony Stewart's going through a situation a little bit like yours last year in that he's looking at options. I was wondering if you had any advice for him, and I was wondering, would you like him as a teammate if he decides to leave Gibbs?
Well, like when Martin's situation surfaced in the media about his contract, I feel I have the same opinions. I feel really, I like the teammates I got now. I got a good relationship with Tony. I think that Tony's always been really good at making smart business decisions, and he's just he's sort of always on the front lines of what's going on, what he needs to do, what's good for him, and he's always really proactive in that sense. You know, a lot of guys sort of just take their position and sort of just sit on it for years, and he's always trying to put himself in a better position constantly in the business sense of the job and the sport. So it's pretty admirable, I guess, the actions and the just maybe not the actions, but how much how involved in it he is, and how he's constantly trying to discover a better position for himself and a better way for him to succeed in his future. You know, he's just trying to get to where we all are trying to get. You know, as far as once you're reach retirement age and whatnot, he wants to put himself and be in the best position he can possibly be in. And he's really proactive, more so than I see a lot of guys about that.
From MurrayState.com. Dale, could you describe some of the core values that the Navy has that you can see some similarities with driving, with drivers like yourself and others in NASCAR?
That's a tough job, either one. You know, I mean, you travel a lot, you get to see a lot of things, you get to learn and witness a lot of stuff, see different parts of the country, and in the Navy's. In the Navy, you see a lot of different parts of the world, but it just really, I don't know, you know, just you're challenged all the time, and you're constantly improving, you know, as a person, as a competitor, and I think that it's, you know, there's a lot of different similarities between the two.
Question over there, I think, Callie, you got one? David Poole, Charlotte Observer. Junior, two questions about the Tony thing. One, if you could give him a page or two out of the playbook that you guys developed over last year going through some of the same thing, would there be any advice you would give him? And two, I guess the other side of it would be any warnings you would give him.
Well, Tony's in a different deal to where I don't think his contract's up, is it? So he's in a different situation entirely than I was. It's, you know, Tony has several different options, and staying where he is a great one. That's obviously going to be Joe's going to be around for a long time. Joe's going to be competitive and have a great program for a long time. And or he could become his own Joe Gibbs if he wants to. And Tony has networked his entire career. He has a lot of relationships with a lot of people that would suit him well should he ever decide to become an owner in this sport. So really, it's just up to Tony and what he wants to do, because I think he could accomplish really any situation or he could accomplish it. He could accomplish his goals, really, I believe, however he wants to stack it up.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Massaro, ESPN.
Tony's expressed interest in becoming an owner, possibly. I mean, you're an owner. That said, from your perspective, what advice would you give him before he jumped into that?
Well, he's going into he's wanting to be an owner in the Cup Series, I presume, which is possibly your chance at having a profit is a little bit better. In the Cup Series, I guess in the corporate world, it's a well-known fact what the dollar figure is for that sponsorship versus the nationwide series, and in truth, you can spend nearly what you spend, and the sponsorship dollars are two different things. In the Busch Series and the Cup Series, it costs about the same to race, but the sponsorship dollars are quite a bit more. So that's smart to be in the Cup Series is a whole lot more feasible financially, and so I would, if he was getting in the Busch Series, I asked Kevin Harvick a lot of questions when I got in the Busch Series, and he gave me some advice in a couple areas on what I could do to watch costs and where it was going to come, where cost was going to come from, where I least expected it and where I wouldn't really expect it to happen. That helped me a lot to get advice from Kevin, and but I wouldn't have to. I'm sure the same things apply in the Cup Series. The parts department can get out of control if you're allowing just any of your employees to run up to any of the parts trailers here at the racetrack or the radio trailer or whatever at free will. That can get out of control. You need one guy for covering all those different things. The parts department should be the parts department's kind of like you lock the door once you go in there. Once the guy that works in there goes in, he locks the door behind him. Nobody goes in. Everybody has to come over to the counter to get what they need. Everybody has to write it and sign off to get what they need. If you got people walking in and out of your parts department, the parts are walking in and out too. So just a lot of different things like that I would tell him.
Sounds like a lot of things to worry about. That said, would you recommend it to him? No.
I would recommend it to Tony. Like I said, I feel like he would be successful if he chose to go that way. I think he'd be a fun owner. I think he having been a driver definitely would I'm sure he's going to continue to race, but at one point he won't, and having been a driver will definitely make him, it's you really like to work with the guys who understand where you're coming from, like the Richard Childerses, and Rick's even drove a lot, and so you feel like you have a little better understanding with the guys that have been behind the wheel. So Tony would fit right in there. He would be a fun owner. He'd be a great guy to work for, I'm sure.